We are starting a new series this week, and the question that needs to go along with this series as we go through the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I don't even remember. What if Jesus was serious? What if Jesus was serious about the words that he said? What if he was serious about the things that he asked us to do? What if Jesus was serious? So we're going to spend some time with looking at the words of Jesus in the book of Matthew, specifically the Sermon on the Mount. And so the Sermon on the Mount starts with these, what are commonly referred to as the Beatitudes, the blessed are set of things. And so as we look at this, what if Jesus was really serious about these particular blessed are's? And are you, am I, doing what we can? Are we really blessed? So I tried to tie the last series, God and Technology, with this series. So I named this one #Blessed. And so I spent a little time this week looking up #blessed. So I went on to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. That was the three that I went on, and I just threw in the search bar #blessed. And it is amazing the different things that come up. Now, excluding the advertisements that come up, because we all have to wade through the advertisements that we find on social media. If you are a watcher of things on any social media, it is amazing to see when you talk about blessed, what people put up. So it was last week was Mother's Day, so there was a ton of mother-daughter, grandmother, mother-daughter, great-grandmother, grandmother, mother-daughter pictures, and #blessed of all the people. And that's a good thing, being blessed with family and those sorts of things. But when you dig a little deeper, you get into #blessed, new car, #blessed, new boat, #blessed, new home, #blessed. Got to meet my favorite WWE wrestler. What does our world think being blessed means? And what happens in our world, it trickles into our lives. You can't stop it. It creeps in. It is part of being human that we are affected by what goes on around us. And so our world kind of creeps in on us. So I thought I would push back a little bit today, and we're going to go through the list. There were 9 things that Jesus talked about. We're going to go through them one by one. I apologize now. It's probably going to run long. Blessed are the poor in spirit. You may be poor in spirit because you just heard that it's going to run long. I'm sorry. But you will get the kingdom of heaven, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So what does it mean to be poor in spirit? So what did Jesus mean when he said poor in spirit? Now, he didn't mean those who mourn, because he mentions that next. I think what he is talking about is people who are downtrodden, people who just can't seem to catch a break. Have you ever seen those people? Have you ever met those people? I'm not talking about people who are standing on the corner holding a sign that says, "I'm hungry." That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about people who try their darndest every day, but it seems like the only thing that they can come up with is bad luck. Those people who are around us. And when I think of that, I think of places like Five Loaves Food Pantry. I think of places like Family Promise. I think of places like Our Daily Bread that feeds lunch to people throughout the week. I think of shelters. I think of the Samaritan House. I think of all of those different places where people end up. And unless you've been in that situation, unless you have been on the edge of disaster financially or spiritually or with family, it's hard to understand. But when you help those who are poor in spirit and you see their reaction, it is amazing to be a part of. So last year, we built a playscape for Family Promise, Cody's Eagle Scout project. And so it was, when I think of poor in spirit, I think of those kids who watched us day after day build and couldn't get on the playscape yet because it wasn't finished. And they kept looking over the pile of wood chips that was there saying, how much longer? When can we play on it? Those kids who were less fortunate. So if Jesus was really serious, we should be helping those who are less fortunate than us. I have to stop here. This is not a list of things that you have to do to get into heaven. That is not what Jesus put this list here for. Salvation is free, but this is a list of things that those who truly believe, those who call themselves Christians, you somewhere on this list should find a place that motivates you to go and be one of God's children. You should find on this list of 9 items someplace where you are currently or you desire to help. And so when I talk about these, you will hear some of these and you may think, well, that doesn't really affect me. And that's all right. But if I get through the whole list of 9 and none of them affect you, you need to ask yourself, all right, God, what is it that I should be doing that I'm not doing? Because I believe these encompass everything that Jesus is serious about in this situation. So, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God. Blessed are those that mourn. Oh man, we've been there. I could say that with assurance. We have mourned. We have lost. But I'm not talking about just having a bad day. I'm talking about people who are deeply and truly affected by things in their life. And one of the great things about helping those who mourn is that just your presence, it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to take anything out of your wallet. when you hear somebody's story and it rings true to your story. If you're a widow and you've been a widow for a long time and you see somebody who is recently widowed, you can comfort them in a way that nobody else can, because you understand what it is that they're going through. If you've lost a child and you see somebody who's lost a child, you can comfort them like nobody else can, because you know. If you have had grief and have mourned in your life, your presence can help somebody who is currently feeling grief. And sometimes misery does love company. And sometimes it's just a matter of two people who are currently mourning, maybe even about different things, being together and reminding one another that God is still with us. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. We're going to spend a little time here, people. Meek. Meek. We have associated meekness with weakness in our society. And I don't think that's what Jesus means here. Jesus means meekness as a choice. When you look it up in the dictionary and you look at the old meaning of it, it is somebody who makes a purposeful sacrifice. Jesus was meek as he went to the cross. He did not have to go to the cross. He was the God of the universe. He could snuff everything out in an instant. He has ultimate power, but he decided to be meek. He decided to go to the cross. He decided to be a part of that. And when I was looking for examples of that, I came across this one. I don't know how many of you have ever had experiences with large animals, specifically horses. If you've ever ridden a horse or been around a horse, or if you're a horse person and you have spent a lot of time around horses, I got to learn about that out at Facet Farms in the equestrian therapy program. And I had never really, as a kid, spent a lot of time around horses. But I got to learn about what horses are like. And horses are huge, powerful animals. And if you've ever seen a wild horse, or if you've ever seen somebody trying to break a horse, you will realize that they are dangerous creatures. They are capable of great violence. But working and helping at the equestrian therapy program, I got to see these powerful, majestic creatures be meek. As soon as a horse takes a bit into its mouth, their attitude completely changes. They have made a decision to allow that bit to be put into their mouth. Trust me, I have seen some people bitten by horses. And if a horse does not want a bit in its mouth, it will do its darndest to keep that bit from going into its mouth. And it is nasty when you get bit by a horse. But as soon as they put that bit into their mouth, and they make that decision, and I believe horses make a decision to allow to be reined in, that they become different creatures. Some of them so gentle, some of them so meek that they can work with children who have no control. But being by those gentle giants brings comfort and peace and change. Children who couldn't speak, speak. Children who couldn't sit up because they want to ride the horse. It's amazing to see. Meekness is a choice. Jesus chose to save us. Free and clear, you're saved. All you have to do is accept it. No cost, no future cost, no past cost, no present cost. It's free. He chose to do it. Jesus says, "Blessed are the meek," those who choose to be controlled by others, even though they don't have to be. Those who choose a subservient role, even though they don't have to. Those who are strong and powerful and choose to be agents of good and gentleness. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Not weak, a conscious choice to be controlled, to be directed, to do good and what is right. Blessed are those who hunger for righteousness. Oh man. Righteousness. Being right. Doing the right thing. Those who hunger for it. I watched a good movie last night. I would suggest that you watch it. It's about Thurgood Marshall on Netflix. If you have Netflix, click it on, watch that. It's about one particular case, but it kind of explains how he became who he was. He was a brilliant young man right from the very beginning. He graduated from Howard University with a law degree, and as soon as he got his law degree, he sued the University of Maryland for not letting him in. That sounds like a troublemaker right from the very beginning. But he won. And he didn't want money. He just wanted them to allow African Americans to go to school there in the law program. He spent his life seeking righteousness for those who were oppressed. Did he get it right every time? No. And I think he would admit that. But there are certain people among us who seek justice for those who are oppressed, for those who are treated poorly. And if you're one of those people, and it's going to cost you, I want you to continue to speak for justice, for the righteousness that God is leading you to. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Oh man, this one's tough. I have a hard time with this. I am not very merciful. If you've done something wrong, I think you should pay. But somebody who is merciful forgives. I know some passionate people, but I know a passionate person who is merciful. His name is Fred. Great name. He is a merciful person. He looks for the absolute best in everyone that he meets. And he sees it, and he believes it. And he tries to get people to see the best in themselves. Fred's one of those people. He ran a camp for a while, and every once in a while there would be people who would come onto the campground when he wasn't there, and they would do damage. And he would get angry, and he would be upset. But he was always the first person to forgive. If the person was found out, if they figured out who did it, he always wanted them to work off their punishment. He never wanted to involve the police. He never wanted to cause pain. He wanted people to see what it was that they had done and how it was what they had done had affected the program that was happening. He wanted people to know. And in doing that, he always worked with those who would come. And he would show them mercy and love. I'm still working on that one. Blessed are those who forgive easily. For those who not only forgive, but forget. Blessed are they who are merciful, for mercy will be received by them. They will receive that same mercy from God in heaven. I hope I can get there. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. I think you either are or you aren't. I could be completely wrong about this, but I think this is something you have ingrained in you or it isn't. I have talked about this before. The first thought that runs through my head is not always a good thought. In fact, most of the time, it's not a good thought. Most of the time, it's a bad thought. I am not pure in heart. But I have met people who are pure in heart. I have met people that the first thought that crosses their mind is the best thought. There was a young man that I grew up with. His father and my father played softball together. His name was Dale. He had Down syndrome. He never met anybody that he didn't love. Not just like, but love. Dale loved everybody. It was in his nature. He always thought the best of everyone. I am sure that Dale is with God at this moment because of the purity of his heart. He loved everyone. If you meet somebody like that, look into their eyes, because I firmly believe you will be looking into the eyes of God. Pure in heart. Either you have it or you don't. But it's here because we need to recognize it. We need to see those who are pure in heart, and we need to hear their voice. We have a tendency to sometimes call those people simple-minded. We have a tendency to forget or disallow what it is that they are saying. But their voice is an important voice for us to hear because they see the world with different eyes, because they are so pure in heart. And we need to give them the attention that they deserve and to hear what it is that they say to us. Because there are moments at which it is the voice of God speaking through those who are pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. I talked to the kids about it today. Being a peacemaker, I believe this is one of those choices that we make. There are moments in my life, remember I said I'm not pure in heart and I am not merciful, that my first thought is not that of a peacemaker. When there is conflict in the world, sometimes I want to step up and protect those who need to be protected. But the reality is that if we continue to do what it is that we are doing, we will always get the result that we are getting. I am a firm believer in the peace of God, and not just peace in your heart, but I'm talking about actual peace. There are moments at which I want to protect those who are close to me. I want to defend my children. I want to defend my wife. There are moments I want to go into battle. I want to grab that sword and I want to defend those who need to be defended. But the reality is, we've been doing this for centuries, millenniums, and it hasn't worked. And those who have figured it out have shown us the way. People who might not even be Christians, but some who are. I've spoken about them before here. People like Gandhi, people like Mother Teresa, who choose a life of peace, nonviolence, of building bridges instead of tearing them down, who love other people instead of hate, who turn the other cheek when they're struck. Those who are true peacemakers will be known as children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you decide to follow Jesus, and you really begin to put the things that Jesus is asking us to do into action, there will be those who come along who persecute you. There will be those who do not believe that you are willing to be a peacemaker. There will be those who do not believe that you are truly merciful. There will be those who do not believe that you are truly helping those who are poor in spirit. There will be those who don't believe that you have decided to step back from your position of power and put meekness on. And they will persecute you. And they will try and get you off of the game that you are playing. They will try and get you away from what Jesus is teaching. They will speak poorly of you. She could have done a better job. He doesn't really mean that when he says it. Maybe it'll be more forthcoming than that. You need to stop doing what you're doing, they might say to you. But as you ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing pleasing to God, and does it bear fruit? If the answer is yes, accept that persecution that you receive as a badge of honor. Don't fight against it. Speak the truth, righteousness, but don't try and do harm to the person who is seeking that injustice for you. Because yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. If we take these 9 seriously, if we take the first 8 seriously, and you work towards them, there will be those that speak out against you. They will say that you have ulterior motives. They will say that you are really part of a cult. They will say that you don't really mean what it is that you say. And it'll get nasty, and it'll get ugly. They'll say, you're not doing your job right. They'll say, you're just doing that so you look good. You're only doing that to get me in trouble. You're only doing that. And you have to really look at yourself in the mirror, and you have to answer all of those questions. And if what you are doing is what you believe God has called you to do, if you have put on meekness, if you have decided to be a comfort to those who mourn, if you have decided to help those who are poor in spirit because you know they are truly blessed by God, if you have decided to be merciful, if you have decided to find those who are pure of spirit, you will have people that speak poorly against you and about the organization that you're in and about what is happening. Man, have we seen that. The Methodist Church is in the midst of a split. And we were splitting over one issue, and I understand that there are people on both sides of the issue. And I understand there are people sitting in these pews right now, listening online right now, who are on both sides of the issue. But I want to say to you that as we have begun to do the split, as churches have begun to leave, there have been these little things that have begun to be said about both sides. They don't know what they're doing. They don't really believe in God anymore. Both sides throwing darts. Here we are, showing the world that we are just like the world. Whether they stay United Methodists or become some other denomination, whether we stay United Methodists or become some other denomination, we are all places that call themselves children of God, and we should be working together. One of the first things I did after Emmanuel left the United Methodist Church was talk to their pastor and said, we still need to be in ministry together in this community. We, Emmanuel and St. Paul's, need to work together. We need to continue to do things together. That's why we collected diapers for Family Promise, because they were collecting diapers for Family Promise. And we needed to do that together at the same time. Because we don't need to persecute one another. We need to be together. We need to not be like the world. The world needs to look in and say, there's something different over there. And I think they're beginning to. I think they're beginning to see it in you. And I want to encourage you to continue it. Because we are blessed. Everybody is on that list. You were there somewhere. Whether you seek righteousness, or whether you're decided to be meek, or whether you are poor in spirit, or whether you mourn, you're on that list. And God cares about you. And you are blessed. And being blessed, we need to continue to bless those who aren't, so that they will see the presence of God through you and your actions. in your love. Jesus is serious about the words that he used, and it's our job to go and show the world that we are true followers. Will you pray with me? God of grace and mercy, thank you for blessing us. Help us to be a blessing to others and to share your love. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Go forth from this place and be blessed. Amen.